from people like her from that tragedy and what we can do about it and how we can stop disasters like this in the future. So we're calling this the Sabah tragedy, and before I go into that, I want to give a little bit background about the Bangladeshi garment industry. So it's an absolutely massive industry, the Bangladeshi garment industry. It employs 3.6 million workers, which is absolutely huge. And it accounts for 70% of Bangladesh's export earnings, and it earns Bangladesh $18 billion in exports. And it's 10% of Bangladesh's GDP. So it's absolutely essential for Bangladesh's growth as a country and for maintaining its workers' living standards. So these are some of the buyers who actually buy the clothes from the Bangladeshi workers. Joe Fresh had a garments factory actually in the building that collapsed in Savar. So first I want to look at some of the bright sides that the garment industry has brought for the Bangladeshi workers. Of those 3.6 million workers, 2.8 million are women. In a country like Bangladesh, that has done a lot to encourage women empowerment. And it's brilliant because these women, these 2.8 million women who work there, are often the sole earners for their family. And this gives them a lot of respect in their families, and it enables them to make decisions. And in general, increases women empowerment. And it allows these families associated with these millions of workers to actually come out of poverty, and in general helps the people who are working there. Next slide, please. But when we go to look at the working conditions, we really understand why the garment industry has gotten a bad name for itself. These workers, they get extremely low pay. Per month, their minimum wage is only $40, which is even low for Asian standards. Like India and other places often have higher minimum wages. They're often forced to work long hours because the managers will tell them that if you don't work, we're not going to pay you. And like this, they force them to work long hours. And sometimes they even manipulate the wages. So there have been studies which have shown that some of these workers don't even get the minimum wage that they deserve. Besides that, some of these factories, in fact, most of these factories, they lack proper safety conditions. They don't have fire protocols. Some of the buildings are not built using proper building codes. And these workers often work in terrible conditions with congested spaces. Again, they're forced to work. And conditions like this has resulted in the Savar tragedy, the collapse of the building, and at the same time, other disasters, like last year, the factory, the Tazreen garments factory that caught fire. Next slide. So now I want to talk about the Savar tragedy. The building did not follow the building code, and it shows how bad the oversight in that area was, which allowed such a big building housing so many factories to grow without following the building code. More than 3,000 people were working in that building when it collapsed. And of them, more than 400 people are dead, and the count is likely to increase. Before I came here, the count was 436. 2,500 people have been injured, and almost 150 people are still missing. Most of them are assumed to be dead. So you can see the scale of the disaster here. What makes this disaster absolutely heart-wrenching is that the day before, construction faults were noticed, and no one took any steps to address the problem. The next day, the workers did not want to work in the factory. The managers told them that you have to work or else we won't pay you your month's wages. And they were forced to work there. And they entered the building, they started working, and after some time, the building collapsed. These are some of the pictures so that you can see the conditions there. So how do we change this? We believe boycotting Bangladeshi products completely should not be an option. Why is this? Because this is going to lead to even more impoverished people. We're going to lose whatever progress we have made. It's just going to make these workers who work there even more poor. What's especially important is that if people generally just boycott Bangladeshi products, Bangladesh will just become another victim in the vicious cycle where multinational companies, just because they get public pressure, they'll just move on to another country to exploit other people. We need to stop this, and tragedies like this remind us that this needs to stop and that they need to be willing to be held accountable and to ensure the working conditions of the people who produce their clothes and are responsible for their profits. So definitely the government needs to protect people. They cannot just lay down in front of multinationals. The garments owners need to recognize the workers' rights. But at the same time, the Western brands and buyers hold a key position because they need to demand safety standards. So right now the situation is that the buyers' pressure for cheap clothes so that they can maximize the profits leads to the government and the garments lobby in Bangladesh having to balance between profits and growth or working conditions. Like they have to get either of the two, they can't get both. What we need to do is that we need to make sure that buyers need to pressure for good conditions so that the governments and lobbies do not have to balance between the two things. What they can do is that they can have both profits and working conditions. And it doesn't need much for the companies to do this. If they just invest a little bit in this, they can actually do this. And we need to save lives, basically. We can't have any more deaths before they're held accountable for the working conditions of these workers. Now I want to talk a little bit about the victims. A lot of these victims, the more than 2,000 people who have been injured, they need future treatments, they need surgeries, physiotherapy, and psychological support, and in general, rehabilitation. And we need your help to do this, because like last year when the Tasweet factory caught fire, Walmart did not pay up. This time around, some of the companies are compensating. That's not enough. But it is due to public pressure, we have been able to achieve that much. And we need to continue public pressure to make sure that this does not happen again and that compensation is not going to cut it. They need to be accountable for their actions. At the same time, these people, because a lot of these injured people, they won't be able to work anymore. And they might be the only person in the family who earns money for the family. So we need donations so that we can ensure that these families can support themselves until they have some way for their long-term survival. Right now, Center for Rehabilitation of the Paralyzed is doing amazing work to rehabilitate the victims from this disaster. It actually has a Canadian society which is associated with it. And I'm from Protonmo Canada. So Protonmo Canada is a youth-based organization in Canada. It's Bangladeshi students in different universities in Canada, and we started out supporting progressive secular movement in Bangladesh, but we recognize that what we work for is equal rights for everyone, and that everyone in Bangladesh deserves the rights that all the rich people, the garments owners have, and that everyone needs to be treated equally, which is why this is a big issue for us. Finally, you have a quote which I think is extremely relevant. Thank you.